Hello, my quilting friends. My name is Leah Day, and welcome to Mini Block Monday. Today we are piecing this super cute block I'm calling Leah's Carolina Lily, and we're going to piece this with some very tiny units as well as some beautiful decorative stitching too. So let's get started. For this block, you will need, in an orange fabric color, cut 3 1.5-inch squares and 2 1-inch squares. In a yellow fabric color, cut 3 1.5-inch squares. From green, cut 1 2.5-inch square and 4 1.5-inch squares and 3 1-inch squares. From a cream or white fabric that's going to be your background, cut 1 2.5-inch square, cut 2 1 by 2-inch rectangles, cut 2 1 by 1.5-inch rectangles, cut 4 1.5-inch squares, and cut 1 1-inch square. The first step is to create a set of half square triangles with your 2.5-inch squares. You're going to line these up right sides together, place a ruler on top running corner to corner, and mark a diagonal line. Take this to your machine and stitch exactly 1/4 inch to both sides of the line. Here's what it looks like once you get that stitched. And you're going to trim right on that marked line to create 2 half square triangles. Take your time finger pressing these seam allowances open and give them a press with a hot, dry iron to flatten them down. Trim down these half square triangles to measure 2 inches square. Now you're only going to need one of them to piece your block, so set one aside so you don't get confused as you're piecing. If you'd like to find a much more detailed tutorial on how to piece half square triangles, go to leahday.com/HST. I hope you like half square triangles because we're going to be making a whole lot more. You're going to stack the following fabrics together and stitch them to create half square triangles. So first you're going to use a 1.5-inch square of orange and background to create 2 half square triangles. Then 1 1.5-inch square of orange and 1 of your green to create 2 half square triangles. Stack 1 square of yellow and 1 square of background to create 2 half square triangles. Stack 1 yellow and 1 green to create 2 half square triangles, and stack 1 orange and 1 yellow square to create 2 half square triangles. You're going to create 2 sets of green and background to create a total of 4 half square triangles. Once you get these stacked and stitched, press the seam allowances open so they're nice and flat and trim all of the units down to measure 1 inch square. Now you're going to have a few extras that you want to go on ahead and pull right now so that way they don't get confusing. You're going to take 1 of the green and orange, 1 of the green and yellow, and 1 of the orange and yellow. We're not going to need those for this block. Now that you've created all of your units, it's time to piece the larger lily shape together. First, arrange your pieces according to this pattern. Piece them together in rows of 3 units, then piece those rows together, carefully matching these seams. This unit should measure 2 inches square once you piece it together. Now let's piece the smaller flower shape. You're going to need a 1.5-inch square in orange and green and 2 of your green and background half square triangles. Piece this together in sets of 2 units and piece the rows together to match that center seam. Then you're going to piece one of the background 1 by 1.5-inch rectangles to the bottom edge, and then piece the 1 by 2-inch rectangle to the side. Here's what it will look like once you get it pieced together, and this should measure 2 inches square. You're going to make a total of 2 of these for this block. Now arrange your lily block in sets of 2 units as you see here. Be careful when positioning your smaller flowers. It's really easy to get those flipped around the wrong way. They should be forming the corners on opposing sides, just like so. Piece this together in sets of 2 and then piece the rows together, carefully matching that center seam. Now this will measure 3.5 inches square at this stage. When you piece this to other things, it will measure 3 inches square. But it's not quite complete yet. We still need to add a beautiful stem coming down off of our flower shapes into the vase. So to do this, grab a fabric marking pen, and you can design anything you want. You can have things swirl around and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the traditional way, the way I like the best, is just a straight line coming down off of one flower, a very gentle curve coming off the smaller flowers, just like so. And you can just eyeball this. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's not 100% symmetrical, but I think that looks great. So now I have something that I can follow as a guide and do some hand stitching. So this is some pearl cotton, I think, embroidery floss, and I've just got this attached to a nice needle with a large eye that's going to be easy to stitch. I'm going to tie the end in a knot so that way it doesn't come undone. Just a simple overhand knot. Okay, and now I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. So I'm going to insert the needle here at the very base of the flower, and I'm going to do a stitch that's basically running up, and I stitch back through the stitch with each one that I make. And I think that this looks really nice. It adds a nice texture to the quilt block. So I'm first going to take a nice long stitch. It's about a 1/4 inch long stitch. I'll zoom in here just so you can really see what I'm doing. And then now I'm going to back stitch and come in and split that thread, that floss. So my needle is coming up right there, and I'm going to pull on that, come through, carefully pull my thread through so it doesn't tangle. And you can see how that split just widens it out just a little bit. It really looks nice. Now I'm going to bring my needle up, again about a 1/4 inch long stitch, send it through, and again I'm going to back stitch and split that floss, just like so. Now a few more stitches here. Once you get the pattern set up, it's really very, very easy. If you find that it's not splitting the floss, you can always bring the needle up and then stitch through the side of it. That works too. And it'll widen that out. It's kind of adding a little bit of a twist and making it just a little bit wider. I really like that effect. Now, if you don't like this idea, if you don't have embroidery floss, if you don't have the right needle, if this just seems really intimidating and silly, then you can always just use a magic marker, you know, just a permanent magic marker, and that's fine. You know, you could do the decorative stitching on your machine. You could do this as part of your quilting, you know, when you go to quilt your block. So you don't have to do hand embellishment on your block if you don't want to. There's lots of different ways that you can add the stem in place so that your flowers aren't floating out in the middle of the ether, right? I think personally it looks kind of weird without the stem stitched. So I think it definitely needs that in some way. Okay, looks like I have space for about 2 more stitches here. And you want to be careful as you come up on the base of the flowers. There is a good bit of seam allowance right here, so just watch out for that. And I come up, kind of want to split that right there. That looks good. And then I'm going to go right through that point, the base of the flower right there. All right, and then I'm going to tie off another overhand knot. Here's what it looks like on the back. See, not too bad. And the back is the back, remember. So it's okay for it to look a little bit messier than the front. All right, so an overhand knot basically kind of looks like a pencil. You just make a loop and pass the thread tails through the loop, and then I'm going to tighten this down right on the surface of the block just by squishing my thumb on top of it and then tugging on it. There we go. So that looks great. Clip that short. And then now For the remaining stitching, I'm going to do the exact same style of stitch, but I'm going to start on one of the smaller flower bases, come down, and then come back up to form a V shape, and that will finish off that decorative stitching. And here is what it looked like whenever I did this on my other block. I just think it finished it off absolutely perfectly. Now this month I made something super cute with my mini blocks, an Easter basket. I absolutely love this. And as you can see, I have filled mine with over a pound of Reese cups, so it can definitely hold its weight in candy. Now, if you'd like to find this pattern and make an Easter basket, or several, because I know that these are super addictive, and once you make one, you're gonna wanna make a million of them, come and find the pattern at leahday.com/basket, and includes step-by-step instructions for how to frame your mini blocks, how to do 3D YP seams, how to quilt with some foam. It's really a detailed pattern to guide you through making this project step by step. So come and check that out at leahday.com/basket. And while you're online, please give my video a like, a thumbs up, post a comment in the comment section below, and share my videos. That helps me out the most because it lets everyone know that you enjoyed this tutorial, you learned something from it, and that helps me continue making more videos too. So I hope that you enjoyed learning how to piece this quilt block with me, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next Mini Block Monday. Until next time, let's go quilt!